Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Melati Purwaningtyas. My student ID number is 120104 is 21358. I will presentation my PowerPoint that's about tenses unit 13 until 24. Okay, the first is present perfect. It's simple. The rumus present perfect tense is if the positive tense, you will use subject plus has or have and verb 3 plus object. It's like I have lose my key. Next is if negative, you can use subject plus has or have plus not, first verb 3 and object. And if interrogative, you can use has or have first and then add the subject plus verb 3 and the last object. The next, we can use our present perfect is when its connection with present, like Jim has gone to Canada, and after that this present perfect is we can use to give new information or announce a recent happening. Okay. Next, it's present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. This is the present perfect continuous tense. You can see for positive tense, you can use subject plus have or has plus been. This is use been plus verb ing or present participle. For negative tense, you can use subject plus have or has plus not plus been plus verb ing or present participle. For interrogative tense, first you can use have or has, after that subject plus you can add been plus verb ing or present participle. We use the present perfect continuous when we talk about an action that began in the past and has recently stopped or just stopped. Example is, you are out of breath. Have you been running? Next, we also use the present perfect continuous to ask or say how long something has been happening. Is it we can say this time the action. Next is present perfect with how long. Present perfect with how long for or since. That's the example is they are married. So for how long have they been married? Or they have been married for 20 years. We use the present perfect continuous to say how long something or sometimes The action is a repeated action. And we can use to for action repeat over a long period. The example is I have been collecting, or I have been collected stamps since I was a child. Next, present perfect with how long, simple past with when, since, and for. When we use the simple past to ask or say when something happening, we can. The example is when did it start raining? When did it start raining? So for simple past, we use I did. Or it started raining at 1 o'clock and an hour ago. For since and for, we use both since and for to say how long something has been happening. Example is I have waiting for since 8 o'clock, or I have been waiting for you for 2 hours. When use since, when we say the beginning of period, and use for when we say the period of time. Like this is example for since, like 8 o'clock, Monday, May, April, Christmas, lunchtime, and example for you can say the specific time, like 2 hours, 10 minutes, 3 days, 6 months, a week, 5 years, another. We don't use for in experience with all day, all morning, all week, all my life. We not use this for this. Okay, next. Present perfect or simple past. It is often possible to use the present perfect or simple past. Like I have lost my key. Have you seen it anywhere? Or I lost my key. Did you see it anywhere? The first example, we use present perfect, and second example, we use simple past. We use past tense to ask when or what time something happened, and don't use the present perfect for happening and action that are not connected with the present. For example is historical or even like the Chinese invented printing. Past perfect. This is the past perfect simple tense. You can see I, he, she. We use had and plus gone. For negative, I, she, he, and other had not gone for interrogative, we can had the first. Had you, had she, had he, and each other gone. We form the past perfect with had and plus the participle. Sometimes we talk about something that happened in the past. The example is, I arrived at the party. We use the past perfect to say something had already happened before this time. And the example is, when I arrived at the party, Tom had already gone home. Next, past perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous, the I, he, or she, and each other had been doing. We use been doing in past perfect continuous. This is some example. When the boys came into the house, their clothes were dirty, their hair was a mess, and one had a black eye. They had been fighting. So they is subject and had and been plus verb ing, been fighting. Next is have and have got. Have, we can use have, has, had for possess, but we also use have for other things. Example is, for example, family relationship. The example is, we have a car. I have a brother and two sisters. Tom has a headache. In question, we use do, does, did. Like, how many brother and sisters do you have? Does Anne have a car? In negative sentence, we use done, don't, doesn't, didn't. I don't have any more. I don't have any money. I didn't have a watch. Next is have got or has got. You can use the have got or has got rather than have or has alone. Like, we have got a car. Tom has got a headache. For a question, example for a question is, have you got a headache? But don't forget, for the past, we use when she was a child, she had. We use had here. Have for action. Have for action, we also use have for a number of action, especially eating and drinking. The last is used to. I used to do. We use to with the best form. Used to do or used to smoke each other to say something. We also use to for a situation that no longer exists. The example is, I used to play tennis a lot, but now I'm too lazy. Or, we used to live in a small village, but now we live in Milan. I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.